Welcome to Ellie Goldsmith's Relationship Flow. We are back in Jerusalem after a wonderful vacation, summer holiday in Bat Yam. It's a beautiful location, recommend it. Thank God there's everything a person can need in terms of places to stay and wonderful beach and all the different style beaches according to your needs. And also the people there that we experienced were all very positive, everything went fine. It was a very smooth trip except for one difficult detail which I think is relevant for our relationship flow, in the sense that in order to have intimacy, we've already mentioned in our Unity Flow podcast, if you go there for United Souls course, which is an interactive course, I'll put the link again for the next one in June the 22nd. Always invite you to sign up. It's a bi-weekly course twice a month in the network of Pulver EDU. Over there we mentioned in this recent episode on June the 8th, and our lucky guests were able to be interactive, and thank God we really helped them with their personal development. The opportunity to work on your flexibility, versatility, have the power to overcome challenges. For example, right now I'm in an office, and sometimes when I give these little speeches, I could have done it on the beach or I could have done it on the pool, but I decided to focus in on the opportunity to connect by being at work, being back in the world, back in life. I think that was the best way to connect, and it was really important I do it that way. So I'm just asking everybody to tune in a way that really makes a difference to their relationship, their intimacy. So for example, when you're back home, coming back from the summer holiday, you already have an ability to deal with the struggle of the transition. And I think this is something which, for the intimate life, a person has to realize that if the relationship is strong, meaning you're very bound together and you're not in a state of stress or unnecessary stress or let's say divisiveness, so then you have the power to bond and create that oneness that's needed for the relationship to flourish. So I was able to personally overcome a few challenges, as I was mentioning before in the Unity Flow podcast. When I was there, unfortunately there was a big struggle once we arrived, because my parents returned back to London, back on the plane to British Airways. Within 20 minutes of them being checked at the border control, they weren't given time for us to, as my wife and I, thank God she kindly drove me to, not only to where we were staying, dropped off the kids, but then drove to the airport. Her first time driving to Ben Gurion Airport, which is a big deal for a new driver. And we thank God found a place to park. As we were moving up to go park, we got the call from my mum in hysterics that they're sending him back. They're not going to be part of our vacation. And they obviously were a big part of it, making it happen. And I haven't seen him for over a year and a half. So that some trauma of intense emotion. My mother, emotionally, it was very hard for her not to see her grandchildren again. And it was very hard for her to not be part of that positive experience that we just had, this vacation time that we've been waiting for a long time to make reality. And I have to say that I was very, very happy with the way I was proactive, and I spoke about it in my United Souls course, that to be proactive in such a situation is not a simple story, because we were tested in every level, that whether it was going to be a positive start to the holiday, and I think that's bound to happen. After everything we've gone through with the Corona Challenge, a year and a half, and all the inconsistencies, as I mentioned in my Unity Flow podcast, is still going on. But this is all meant to be. So when you have a strong relationship, my wife and I, and we're able to bond together at that moment of struggle, of difficulty, of potential divisiveness, because suddenly now all the responsibility falls onto me for the trip. Financially, I'm going to have to cover all the meals and all the different things we're doing and the cars we rented, and because it's just wouldn't be the right thing to ask them, at least not at the beginning part of the trip. Later on, thankfully they did sponsor a meal too, but to ask them to cover all that in this situation would have been really difficult. So we were able to hold back and focus in on the relationship that we have, and that would lead us, even though it wasn't an easy start, we were able to then bond and get through the next few days in a positive way. And that is important, that when you get those challenges on your summer vacation, because everyone needs one, it's part of the schedule in yeshiva world. I do Benazman or Nofesh to have a little time out. It's really important. Rats for Shabbos, we say in Anyway, as we were saying before we got cut off, thanks to a phone call, the relationship flow takes a lot of determination. And as we spoke in the United Souls podcast and course, is by having a more soulful, long-term outlook on the relationship, then you won't get hopefully caught up in being reactive. You'll be in a more proactive state of mind. You'll be more in a soul way of thinking, which is always long-term, which is always tuned into the bigger picture and the greater good that exists within the relationship. And so too when, for example, my parents who can't be here, they would still be here now, they'd actually be here in Jerusalem with us. We have beautiful Shabbos together and all the other good things we were hoping for. That you remember that we're souls and that we love each other and connect to each other, even if we can't do it physically right now because of certain rules, and hopefully they'll be back soon. It's just missing a paper, that's all it really was. Paper that's very irrelevant at this stage of the game with all the vaccinations and everything. But anyway, without getting into that, a person has the power to be above this challenge that we're in and tune into what we really are meant to do in this world and give to those that we love and connect with. And with that power, we can undo a lot of the stress and a lot of the wasted time and wasted energy on fighting or arguing. And once, God forbid, there's that arguing and fighting, so then intimacy is far from intimate. Maybe it will take place, but it won't be that bond, that connecting moment that you're hoping and praying for. This is something which I know myself is a challenge. I don't think I'm totally holding on this level, but by talking about it, sharing it in this flow podcast, the relationship has ability to grow because you're aware of the concepts, you're aware of the ideals and the goals, and you're dreaming for those more positive scenarios, more intimate moments, and then it gives you energy and fuel to hopefully withstand some of the challenges and to make the right choices in the moments that we get pushed and tested. So anyway, my hope is that this week's Relationship Flow podcast will give you a little clarity before you go on a summer holiday to be prepared that there will be challenges. Obviously having kids and anyone else who's involved, with the Corona challenge flying, whatever the situation is, they're probably going to come up a lot of challenges, and therefore even though you've laid out money and you've got a beautiful place, and we thank God did have that with a beautiful view of the sea and a pool, rooftop pool, and everything was wonderful in the physical sense, but emotionally you're still going to have to deal with things. And if something comes up which physically challenges it, like my parents not being there, then you have to deal with that. And that is the roll call of a relationship, that you can't avoid. The challenges are going to come up, and we have to be mentally prepared, almost like a trained athlete or trained wrestler or trained fighter or anybody who's trained. We have to train ourselves in life that generally there's going to be stuff that are difficult. Like, for example, even you can stay at a place that's beautiful and suddenly something happens that you think you might have broken something there, and thank God it didn't break, and you're happy, but at the moment it can whoa, this could be thousands of shekels damages if it's broken, and you have to suddenly be very on your toes to make sure that everything, thank God, is looked after and respected, all the rules are respected. And these are just all different ways of that can lose the flow of intimacy because you're getting sidetracked by things that aren't what's the priority, what's the importance of being there. The importance obviously is the connection between your loved ones and being able to create that loving environment. And especially right now, we just got back after being in Blia and Hora, Baruch Hashem, in a very spacious apartment, a beautiful view right by the sea, and it's something which I know my soulmate needs and loves. And when you come back, and as you can hear around me, the intensity of Jerusalem, everyone's hooting away, the heat is boiling here, and it's just an intense environment. The apartments are no way as big. The view is not of a beautiful sea and with a pool and spaciousness. It's small and cramped and stressful, even though it's beautiful. It's also amazing. Yerushalayim, it's a beautiful holy city, and all the intensity is there for good reason and for holiness and for that opportunity to become intimate with our Creator. And being that this is now today Rosh Chodesh Tammuz, which is a very hot month. It's really the hottest month. We're together with Nachman. These 2 months are very challenging months with our history, and all the different tragedies took place during these 2 months. And as we go into this 3-month cycle, we're in now the 3-month cycle of Tammuz, Av, and Elul. Menachem, Av, and Elul are now when we start to sweeten some of the judgments, but Tammuz is a more tough month and the energy is a bit intense, but it's really a time where we can really return to ourselves and return to what true intimacy is about, to understand our intimate relationship, that nothing should get in the way of that. No money, no pressures from outside, just to be focused on what the priority is and really cultivate that relationship so that when you're together you're truly intimate. So, and if you're not there yet, which I know I'm not, you're not holding at that level of complete focus. There's a lot of distractions nowadays. So Baruch Hashem, you have the opportunity, as hopefully you get the space and time to, for many years, to work and build on this and get more focused and pray for this and learn about this and understand. And then when you're on a summer holiday like we just were, and please God we'll have another one later on because this was a short one, we'll have the opportunity to really take those good memories, those good moments with the family, and that will give us the ability to then go do our mission in the world successfully outside of our intimate relationships and intimate moments. And then we'll have the energy and the drive and the power to believe in ourselves because we've already bonded with those we love. And I pray for everyone out there who's lacking that in some way should have it or find it, and should have those beautiful moments and the summer holidays that are coming up, and use that time to restore all our energy so we can do our purpose in this world completely and come to true intimate relationships with our loved ones and our Creator. And to understand that intimacy is something very completely important, like it's the priority in life, and that will lead to all the blessings and everything good. So if anyone has any questions, please send it to me here. Please share your relationship flow. I apologize for that. It was divided into 2 classes, but thank God it's a busy work day now and I've got to get back to it. Now we're back in Jerusalem, a holy city, and wishing everybody a wonderful Chodesh and Shabbos. Good Shabbos.